My name is Archer Williams. I am 45 years old and I once had a purpose. I was a soldier for 20 years. I wore that uniform with pride, saluted my flag, saw combat in places that most people only read about in the news. I saw things I can't forget. I lost people I can't replace. And every time I went out onto the battlefield, I told myself it was for something bigger than myself. But nobody tells you what happens after the war is over. Nobody tells you that coming home doesn't always feel like home. I got off that plane expecting relief. I expected to feel safe. Instead, I felt lost. The world had passed me by. Friends had moved, family had drifted, and the life I expected to return to simply wasn't there anymore. The first few weeks I was in a blur. People offered to buy me drinks, to shake my hand, thank me for my service. Gratitude, however, doesn't pay the bills. Medals don't translate to putting food on the table. And the nightmares, no, we don't want to hear about those. I tried, I really did. I applied for jobs, went to interviews where I could see it in their eyes. The hesitation, the unspoken question, can this guy do a normal life? They saw a soldier, they didn't see a man. And with each rejection letter, another bullet to the chest. Then one bad break followed. Another savings ran out. Bills piled up. I lost my apartment, my truck, the little things I believed were mine to keep. And suddenly I was a soldier with no place to go. A man who had survived a war but couldn't survive a life after. In the beginning, I was telling myself it was something temporary, that I'd get back on my feet, that a man like me, trained to endure the most hostile environments, could survive a few bad months. But a month became a year, and then another. You don't realize how quickly the world forgets you until you're sitting on a park bench with just a backpack and a past no one cares about. When a man like me walks into a place, people assume something. They figure I must have messed up, that I must have squandered my all life, my money, my opportunities. But the truth, I did what they told me to do. I served my country, I followed orders, I came home, and still here I am. I live in a world where I'm invisible, where people don't look me in the eye because they don't want to know my story. They don't want to listen to me talk about the nights when I wake up, gasping for breath, hearing the sound of gunfire that isn't there. They don't want to hear about friends I lost, or the guilt I carry like a second skin. They do not want to know what it is like to fight one war and return home and fight another alone. But I'm still here. I wake up each day and I fight. Not with weapons, not with orders, but with the hope that perhaps, just perhaps, tomorrow will be different. And then last week, something happened. I was sitting outside a diner, counting the change in my pocket to see if I could buy a cup of coffee, when a woman approached me. She was something older, perhaps in her 60s, with kind eyes and a reluctance in her stride. She extended a few bills, but I shook my head. I wasn't asking for money. She looked at me for a long moment, then she said, "Do you remember me?" I frowned, shook my head. Should I? She fished through her purse and found an old photo, a soldier, a younger version of me, standing next to a stranger, a man I didn't know. "You saved my all son's life," she said quietly. "In the war, he all didn't come home, but you did." I studied that photo, shaking hands and all. I meant to say something, but nothing came to mind, because I had no recollection of it, no memory of him, no memory of her. "He used to talk about you," she said, her voice breaking. "He said you were the bravest man he had ever met." I looked up at her, this woman who lost her son, who had every reason to hate the world, and here she was standing before me, remembering a man I had long forgotten. "What happened to you?" she asked softly. I wanted to tell her. I wanted to show how a man can defend his country and end up with nothing, how a soldier can return home and discover he's in a war he's never anticipated. But instead, all I could say was, "I don't know." And maybe that's the saddest part of it all.
I fought the battles, I stood my ground. Lost some brothers, never made a sound. Came back home to an empty place, no one left to know my face. As they said, be strong, just move on. But the road was dark and the light was gone. Still a whisper called my name. You endure more than all your pain. I'm still standing, I am still here. Through the silence, through the fear, I won't fade, I won't break. There's still a life I have to make. No more shadows, no more chains. Faith still burns inside my veins. They walked right past, they looked away like I was just a man who lost his way. But a stranger knew my name that night, a mother's voice, a son's last fight. She said he spoke of you, he knew your heart. He said you saved him in the dark. And in that moment I could see the war took him, but it left me. I'm still standing, I am still here. Through the silence, through the fear, I won't fade, I won't break. There's still a life I have to make. No more shadows, no more chains. Faith still burns inside my veins. There I am still standing, I am still here. Through the silence, through the fear, I won't fade, I won't break. There's still a life I have to make. No more shadows, no more chains. Faith still burns inside my veins. They walked right past, they looked away like I was just a man who lost his way. But a stranger knew my name that night, a mother's voice, a son's last fight. They walked right past, they looked away like I was just a man who lost his way. But a stranger knew my name that night, a mother's voice, a son's last fight. No more running, no more running, no more shame. I hear the voices call my name. The past may hurt, the scars may stay, but I will rise, I'll find my way. I'm still standing, I am still here. Through the silence, through the fear, I won't fade, I won't break. There's still a life I have to make. No more sorrow, no more pain. The faith inside, I'll rise again. If someone listens, if someone sees, then maybe I was meant to be. I'm still standing, I won't fall. A soldier's fight is never small.